Hello everyone, Rabbi Abe here. Welcome to the video. We are going to talk about Aries, the most powerful month and most important month for the beginning of the year in order to take control, take charge of our life. I'm going to explain these ancient concepts from the Kabbalah that will give us the insight and the tools, the mechanism by which we can take charge. It's by no coincidence that Aries is the first. It's number one. Number one, or the first in anything in Kabbalistic teachings, is the head. Everything is controlled by the head, or what we call the keta, the crown, in Kabbalah. And therefore, if we understand what Aries is about and how to utilize it, then we can take charge of our life. So I'm going to go right away to that 5,000-year-old text, the Book of Formation. Actually, the Book of Formation is more like 3,500 years old, but this wisdom was already in place in the time of Adam, the first man, and some of it comes also from the Book of Raziel, the angel, and that's the book that Adam was given that contained the secrets of how to be in control of the universe. Adam was in control of the world, his environment, the animals around him, until whatever is called the fall of Adam, when he lost it. He did regain it back, but he had fallen, and this is when what we call the karmic correction process actually began, the seed level. So, okay, without going into all the details of the correction process, but I need to read to you from the Book of Formation, again from Abraham. And there are a number of sections that I would like to read from that relate to, number one, the constellation of Aries, number two, the planet Mars, which rules Aries, and what these forces, let's say, forces of consciousness control, what they represent. Because, of course, in Kabbalistic understanding, these are the letters, the spiritual forces behind characteristics, behind physical things, behind planets, constellations, and so on. And if we can successfully access into those forces, then we automatically gain control. After all, if I can control the DNA of whatever it is, then I am automatically in control of whatever it is, all right, the thing. So we know Aries is ruled by the planet Mars, and Mars also controls Scorpio, so we'll have a separate video for that on the Scorpio channel. But I'm reading to you directly from the Book of Formation. Himlich ot Dalid. The letter Dalid presented itself. The letter Dalid presented itself. V'kashalo kete, and he bound to it a crown. V'tzar bo ma'adim ba'olam, and with it he formed the planet Mars in the world or the universe. V'yom gimel bashana, and the third day of the week, and that would be Tuesday, the day of Tuesday, v'ozen yamin banefesh, and the right ear, the right ear. So, okay, from this and from other places and other months we've discussed the letter behind the planet, that is the spiritual force, the energy behind the planet, the spiritual DNA, also is responsible for the creation of a day of the week, because there are 7 primary planets, revealed planets, yes, and therefore a day of the week, and also a primal part of the physical body, which has its place in the spiritual body of the human being. Okay. That's Mars. We'll get back to Mars, because Mars, or rather the letter Dalet, also has a meaning. Dalet is a door, okay? It represents also a door, But Dalet, the word Dalet, also comes from the word in Hebrew dal, which is poor, poorness, or lack. Okay? We'll come back to it. Just keep it in the computer. How it's significant. Why is it there? All right. And then we come to the letter He. The letter He, which rules the constellation of Aries. He. He says, 12 pshutot, He vav zayin chet het yud lamed nun samach ayin tzadik kuf. All right. There are human attributes that are associated with the same letters that are called in the Book of Formation 12 simples. 12 simples. Now, 12 simples represent the months of the year as well as human characteristics, okay? Human characteristics. Certain human characteristics. In this case, Yesodan Re'iyah, in order, the letter He controls Re'iyah, sight. Sight. Why is that important? Well, sight is both physical, but sight is also emotional and spiritual, which has to do with how we see things. Okay, keep it in mind, keep it in your computer, because this is important for, a little later on in what I'm about to talk about, okay? How we see things. Does everyone see things the same way? Obviously not. We all see things differently. And what is differently? I mean, there are varying levels of difference from what? From the truth. Because there is the truth of something, the absolute of something. There's always the absolute. And then there's how we perceive it, and that's how we see it. Oh, I don't see it this way. I see it differently. So we may think that, there's no absolute, but there's always an absolute. The spiritual world is absolute. Our world is nothing but absolute. Meaning the clear meaning. What is truth? Truth is something that cannot be disputed by anyone. That's one signal of truth. It operates in the same way for everyone. So it is universal. Truth is universal. A universal idea operates the same way. Electricity, gravity, right? Doesn't matter what our opinion is. Doesn't matter how I understand it. No, but it works the same way for everyone. That's important. Re'iyah, sight, which is most important. Okay, yes, physical sight, obviously extremely important. But how we see things, which means our perceptions of life, perceptions of truth, how close we can come to the truth of whatever it is. In other words, whatever's being said. Listen, I said this. You heard that. Is that a problem? Of course. That's the basis of all misunderstandings, that we can't communicate with each other in a true way. I understand you my way, but it's not necessarily what you meant. Of course that causes problems. We have different perceptions and we don't match up. So truth in a conversation would be that you are able to perceive what my meaning is in a truthful way, which means according to what I meant, not what you heard. Right? I hope that's not confusing, but that's extremely important. It's important in negotiations. It's important in relationships. It's important everywhere. Obviously important. So how truthfully we are able to perceive whatever's going on, whatever's being said, how accurate. Now, in general, the truest signs in communication are Gemini and Virgo because they are ruled by Mercury. And Mercury is communication, and it's the clearest communication of all the constellations. Yeah. And that's why they tend to be good communicators. Gemini's maybe more than Virgo. It depends. Virgo depends on some other things. but Geminis tend to be able to communicate an idea, whatever it is. They can be good talkers, they can be, good explaining things, and so on and so forth, in the clearest way. Why? Because Mercury is that. That's Mercury. That's a power of Mercury. It contains the element of, I won't go into it now in detail, but it's called in Hebrew kochav, and kochav is kaf vav, kaf bet, which is 26, which represents the tetragrammaton, the clear force, the light force of the creator, and kaf bet is 22, and 22 are the letters. So it is the ability to channel the light as closely as possible. Now, this is not a reflection on the individual who is a Gemini. They may tell the truth, they may not. That's not the issue here. It is about communication. In fact, if that person is would want to lie, they will tell the best lie, okay? Because they can communicate it the most effectively, probably, of all the signs. So this is not the reflection on the individual. It's the force, the cosmic force which is coming through that individual, okay? For better or for worse. We're not here to say it's good or bad. We're just here to say that they are effective communicators very much. Okay, because of Mercury. So perceptions has a lot to do with things, and this is, again, coming from the letter He, which rules what? Aries. It rules Aries, the constellation of Aries. So somehow Aries is responsible for perceptions. Another section from the Book of Formation, he says like this, Himlich ot He. The letter He presented itself. V'kashar lo kete, and he bound to it a crown. V'tzar bo taleh ba'olam, and with it he formed taleh. It's called taleh. The Aries, meaning the animal, okay, the ram, which refers to the month of Aries, yes, and the animal, the ram. And we'll discuss the significance of that in a moment. Taleh ba'olam, which means in the world or in the universe. V'Nisan b'shana, the name of the Hebrew month, Nisan, which has, Nisan, okay. V'yad yamin b'nefesh, and the right hand, the hand that shares, okay, right, represents compassion, mercy, and sharing, giving, the giving concept, and the right hand in the human being, in male and female. Okay, what is all this? Why do we, what is the Book of Formation telling us with all of this? Well, Aries is number one. It is considered from the Kabbalist one of the new years, okay, a new year. There are 4 new years. But this new year is the cosmic year, is the beginning of the constellations. And in astrology, we know that. It's the first sign of the Zodiac. We know that as well. And it is also called the child of the Zodiac because it's a bit childish, right? The ego of an Aries constellation, and generally the people of Aries. I'm sorry, please don't take it personally. It doesn't mean you. It might mean you. You ask, why are you number one? And they'll say, because I am. Okay? So it's the simple ego of why? Because I am. Because I am. Why are you the greatest? Because I am. That's it. Doesn't have to be a discussion after that. Okay? I'm right. Why are you right? What do you mean? Because that's my way, my way, or the highway. Okay? This can very much be the Aries consciousness, but there's a reason for that, okay? Not a reflection. It doesn't mean that you must have this if you're born under the sign of Aries, but this is significant in the energy of the constellation that what this has to give us. Now, a number of things happen in Aries. First of all, let's go to the animal. The ram. what's unique about the ram? Well, I'll tell you, it's not necessarily the nicest thing in the world, but I'll give you what my teacher used to give us and tell us about the ram. My teacher used to say when he was a youngster and his parents took him to the zoo and they had their, rams in the cage. And he noticed something very unique. If there were one of them was eating, but there were two bowls of food, right? Two bowls, one for each animal. But one saw the other one eating, he would go over to the other animal and butt him away from his food, and then he would just go about eating his own food. Almost to suggest that he was upset. Not that there's enough food for both. There's two separate bowls of food. Yes, but he's upset that he also has food. I don't want him to have food. I don't want him to eat. I just want to eat myself. Okay? What is that? That's crazy. Okay? Now, I can't say that there's an Aries that I know, and I know a lot of people who are Aries, that, are that, right? It sounds terrible, right? But what does it indicate? It indicates the most powerful force that comes from Aries that we need to have in our life. Are you listening? It's called desire. Desire. And desire is everything. Do you know that the reason why most people don't succeed at what they are trying to do is for one reason? Lack of desire. Not enough desire. And I know some teachings say, desire bad, but that is not Kabbalah. Okay? So if you resonate with a teaching that says desire no, lessen your desire, that's fine. It's not wrong. If you resonate with it, that's what you should be studying. Don't be studying Kabbalah, okay? Because Kabbalah is not that. The opposite. The ancient teachings of the Kabbalah are teaching us how to expand our desire as much as we can. However, before you, judge what I'm saying, what are you going to use your desire for? Because this world, the innate force of desire is, yes, I want it all. The original desire in the creative process is the desire that the Creator created desire in order to receive the totality of the beneficence of the Creator's light. That is creation. Part of the creative process is the Creator creating a vessel, a place, a desire, the force of desire that could receive His beneficence because the Creator wanted to share His beneficence in the creation. For whatever reason. We're not going there right now. But this is the essence of the creation. So whoever's closest to this desire is actually closer to the spiritual vessel of creation. Not further away, not a bad thing. However, in this world, the physical world that we live in, we have something called the impure system. Well, what is the impure system? Desire on its own is the purest thing. Desire for the Creator's light is a holy thing. The more you want it, the more good you will do. But in this world, there is an impure system, there's a duality, and there must be a balance. There must be free will. In order for there to be free will, there's a dark side, there is a negative side, there is a force pushing us, if I can say it that way, to go into what we call selfish desire, ego, for all the wrong reasons. Because there's ego for the positive reasons. That is true. Who's going to change themselves or the world? The one who can say, I will do it. I can do it. Need a good Aries for that. I'm the best at what I do, and I'm going to use my qualities for the world, to share, to help. Aries love to help, by the way. Be it as it may, if it's not a corrected Aries, maybe they also have a ledger. Listen, I helped you here, and I helped you there. Remember when I helped you? Okay, just kidding. Sort of, okay? Because Aries like to help. They like to contribute their energy, no problem. And a good Aries will do it without calculation, with no calculation at all. But what do I mean, a good Aries? Someone who's overcome that. You see, because Aries is pure desire. That's its power. That's a wonderful thing. But again, we must be aware that there is an impure system. Impure system says desire shouldn't be for the Creator's light. No. Desire should be for me alone, for my agenda, to fulfill my pleasures, to fulfill my desires, my wants, emotional, physical, whatever. And that means I can also be upset when they're not fulfilled immediately the way I want it to be. I mean, that's why, we get angry. Why do we get angry? Why does a baby cry? He wants something he's not getting, okay? Adults do the same. We're not that different. Now, our desires in life all come from Aries. Doesn't matter what sign you are. You are getting the energy of your desire from Aries. Now, as I said in the beginning, Aries is the seed of all desire, and the reason why most people, if they're not succeeding, this is the month you should be focused on to draw down more desire, because desire is everything. The Zohar says nothing stands before desire. When you and I have a real desire, a yearning for something, nothing's going to stop you. Nothing's going to stand in your way. But how many desires do we have that, like that? To succeed, to overcome a bad habit, an addiction. Do we have that desire? Now, most people, unfortunately, sometimes we will be able to get to that level of desire when? Well, I hate to have to say it, but when we've hit bottom in something. Let's say, God forbid, I had a student many years ago who had some pretty bad substance addictions, and he had to wait till he was, face down in the subway, in a train, in order to come to the realization, oh, wait a second, I think there's some problem over here, but it was the best thing that could have happened to him. And that's when he got involved in whatever it was, 12 steps, and also began to take Kabbalah more seriously. Because why? It awakened desire. So loss somehow has a way of awakening our desire. So is loss a bad thing or a good thing? Well, it depends on your perception of what you lose, because loss means I emptied out. And now I have desire, I have new place. As long as you don't go down into your loss, into your depression, into this, into that. No, you say, oh, wow, this for me is an opportunity. You lose nothing by trying it. I know everyone's loss is theirs and it's painful and so on. But how we perceive loss is also an extremely important feature of growth and building and changing and having more in our life. But controlling our desire is a very difficult thing. This month, the month of Aries, was given to us in order to take charge of our desire. So desire has the two basic attachments to it. There's desire, the pure force of desire. But as I said, in this world, nature is desire to be for me only, for myself, okay? For the sake of me only, my pleasure, my fulfillment, my agendas, my rationale, my way of whatever it is, but it's mine, okay? Selfish desire. Or desire can be used can be used in order to help, share, because remember, the rule is I cannot share, even if I want to, if I don't have. How can you help other people if you don't first have yourself? So, of course, the ideal consciousness to have is, yes, I desire all, but why? For the sake of helping others. I desire not for myself alone, which is difficult. It is difficult, but I'm going to give you tools. It's difficult, but for the sake of sharing. So it's a circle. I desire in order to help others. Okay? I desire in order to help others. So that's the ideal consciousness. Going back to this ram, the innate force of the ram, which was incidentally the god of Egypt in ancient times, is the spiritual Egypt, if you will, which is not necessarily the same physical place, because I'm going to mention it in a moment, but Egypt, think about it, the power of Egypt and the god of Egypt was named Ra. Ra. Now, Ra in Hebrew is two letters, Resh and Ayin. Ra. They are the initials, strangely enough, or not by coincidence, of Ratzon Atzmi in Hebrew. For those of you who speak the language, I'll put it on the screen. Ratzon Atzmi means a desire for myself. A desire for myself. Or Rasha, an evil person. Ratzon shel atzmi, a desire that is only for me. That is the classification of an evil person according to the Kabbalah. Someone who only desires for themselves alone. That is called evil or bad in the Kabbalah. This was the god of Egypt, okay? The ram, which represents this energy, spiritual energy force, and innately, that's their force they're given. Of course, they are corrected. Okay, we won't go into how the animal's corrected. We've spoken about that in the video, one of the last videos that we did on kosher. You can refer to that, and then that will, help us understand how to correct the animal itself. And by helping the animal correct, we also benefit from that as well. But the point here is they knew how to tap into the force of the animal and use it to their personal benefit for the physical. This was the power of Egypt, bringing energy from the spiritual world and from the animals to strengthen their power of desire that they used, magic, all the forces and the arts of Egypt, beautification, mummification. But what was it all about? Think about that. What was it all about? It was all about, what's a pyramid? Pyramid is the energy of the spiritual world, the point on top, and expanding it on the physical plane. So using spiritual energy only for the benefit of the physical world, which is very interesting. And that's why they buried inside of the pyramid, because pyramids have energy, right? They're very, very intricate spiritual structures. They're not just, triangular thing. No. They were very high tech, beyond what we even understand today. You can't build a pyramid today, right? The technology, imagine the size of these stones. How did do you think? How did they move them? Did they have very complicated machinery or cranes? And the answer is no. They knew how to use the force of the letters. And I'm speaking about the same letters that are in back of me over here. They knew all these things. They knew how to create, if you will, a weightless state within the stone to overcome the matter. And, okay, so in any event, by being buried, If you're like me, when you maybe years ago, you read all these ads in the magazines, and you can sharpen the razor by, you purchase a little pyramid and you put it underneath the pyramid for however long you do. I don't remember, and it sharpens your razor blades. Okay, what is that about? Well, but there is energy. There's energy there. But this energy is only to manifest in the physical plane. Now, that's not sustainable. Why? And as they found out, because they wanted to entrap the soul within the body and preserve the body forever through the mummification process and so on. And, well, didn't actually work out. But, there they are. They're still there. But they were not immortal. They're not immortal as their desire was to be, but still, it's so much for us to learn from over there. And this is probably another discussion, but you see, that triangle is half the story. Because what did we say? We need desire. Is desire bad? No. The force of desire, and which is what they were using the pyramid for, to draw down spiritual energy, it's only half the story. Because what did we say? Use that desire for the sake of what? Sharing with others, helping others. Then the light becomes sustainable. Because the moment you share, you benefit on the back end. Again, we call that in Kabbalah returning light. Returning light stays always. Instant gratification doesn't stay. It has a shelf life. Whatever the shelf life is, it will and must go away. Those are the rules of the universe. But the sustainable, what you help others to achieve, what you help others receive, what you give to others, that energy, the fulfillment, the pleasure, the achievement that you do from creation energy, the creative concept, helping others, that lasts forever. That doesn't go away. Not only it doesn't go away, it gets better with time. So there are some things in our life which do get better. The fulfillment that we feel, the achievement, the creation, something that we created, that gets better in time. That will never go away. But we want our entire life to be that way. Why not? It's possible. And this is the secret of what? The shield of David. Yes, one of my dear friends and students asked me to speak about it. I'm mentioning it only here. I'm not going to go into deep detail about it. But this is a symbol of what? The first triangle that belongs to Egypt, energy of drawing down the spiritual energy, intensifying the desire. But then what's the second? There's another triangle which is in the opposite. The point is at the bottom and expands at the top, which represents what we call the returning light. Yes, I desire, but I'm going to push it back and use it. I'm going to use it for sharing. I'm going to use it to help others. I'm going to use it to benefit also humanity, not only me. And when we do that, we create a circuit. We also create a protective shield. Now, I won't go into the 6 points, okay, which represent 6 points, and then the middle, the 6 patriarchs, and King David is in the middle. That's another discussion. But be that as it may, it is not a star. Maybe many people erroneously call it a Star of David or a symbol of Jewish people. No, not at all. It's a symbol of Israelites. And remember, we have defined Israelites. It's any individual, this has nothing to do with religion, any individual which has the desire and the fortitude, I would say, to overcome selfish desire for the sake of others and expand and grow with that creative ability. That's called an Israelite. And an Israelite pushes back, doesn't receive directly, doesn't, does their best. We all, fall into it, but is not busy with instant gratification. No. I resist instant gratification, and I want, I don't want the crumbs. I want the bakery, okay? Why? Because then I can feed everybody, not only myself. I can help other people with that food. That's the point. That's the shield. When you do that, you have protection. Magen David in Hebrew is the shield of David. It is not a star. It does not mean star. It never meant Star of David. That's a corruption. As usual, so many things have become corrupt. Shield indicates protection, and it is a result of spiritual activity. And this is the symbol which symbolizes also certain energy forces at work, combining the spiritual and physical world together. Okay? As I said, for a different discussion. But then, if we understand all this, then we need a separate class to understand what? The Passover. Why? Because this Passover, which is not uniquely a Jewish thing, let's get our head out of that mindset, okay? Oh, that's those Jews over there do. No, this is a spiritual tool. It's a cosmic window in time. On the 15th day of lunar Aries, there is this event called Passover. Now, I'm not going to go into the details. That's for another talk, which we may have. I may have posted. But having said that, probably most people know on Passover, there's a certain particular food that we eat on Passover, and what we don't eat is what is called leavening, bread, flour products, and I won't go into all the details, but bread specifically, what we learn from bread is it represents the ego spiritually. Because why? Bread, in order to make bread, this dough must get bigger. This expansion represents emotionally, it represents the ego, the Kabbalists say, because it expands. Now, the special food in Passover is called matzah. Matzah, unleavened bread. What is the power of this matzah? Well, I'll tell you. First off, it uses the basic primary ingredients of bread, flour and water. No, there's no yeast. But you can make bread with just flour and water, right? How do you make sourdough bread? I used to do that, a few years ago. I was into sourdough bread, and natural yeast that catches the yeast from the air, and eventually you mix flour and water together and so on. It will rise. You don't need yeast. That's sourdough. Sour. It becomes sour, yes. This is a force. Nothing is just physical. This is a force we're discussing. So since this special food, matzah, it contains the same ingredients that represents also the ego, but the special spiritual technology of this matzah is it must be complete, according to the stricter opinions, shall we say, within 18 minutes of introducing water into the flour until it goes into a very, very hot, fire oven, whatever it is, to bake it. 18 minutes, complete. And you shouldn't stop mixing it. I'll do my best to post a video. I did it last year of us on the eve of the Passover baking very special matzah. Okay? And I'll do my best to post that and do some video on it while in the baking process. But it's such a powerful experience. There's so much energy flying. Again, same ingredients that cause this ego to inflate, but it's restricted. It's not permitted to expand at all. So while it has the ingredients of that, it's almost like, when we're old school, let's say, then they used they used a bit of the disease a bit of the disease, but so that will build the antibodies to that, right? That's how they did it, and those were effective. So that's what it is, same idea. Use the same ingredients that cause expansion, cause the ego, but what? Restrict it. Restrict that force of negativity. Restrict the force of expansion. And then what you do in the Passover, you ingest that. When it's the ideal moment, there's an opening when the moon is full and so on. In the month of Aries, which is the seed of desire, and again, the selfish desire, we are taking it and transforming it. That's called a Seder, okay, that we do on that night. What does Seder mean? Order. We are causing order. That's what we do in the Passover. Recommended for everyone who can participate. Not only Jews, everyone and anyone who can participate in a Seder, preferably a Kabbalistic Seder, if you can, somewhere, somehow, because the emphasis is taking control. It's an event. Because it's a cosmic event, not a holiday, not a Jewish thing, it's a holiday, it's a cosmic event, which gives us the ability to tap into controlling the future of the year, no less, and how our desires will be manifest, how we can control all the future of our reactive behavior, our reactive consciousness, how we react to life, how we see things, like we said. Not to react to the poorness of the letter Dalet. We said it means poor. There's a lack in Mars that causes us to feel a lack. And when we feel a lack, we react. I need to fulfill my lack. No. I need to help fulfill the lack of others, and mine will be permanently fulfilled. If I try to fulfill only my lack, good, you may succeed temporarily. Temporarily. Key word here. We want permanent relief. The Kabbalist is not looking for temporary. We are looking for permanent fulfillment in whichever area, at whatever level of growth we find ourselves in. That is the purpose of this matzah. If nothing else goes, at least get yourself some proper matzah. Not gluten-free, that's not matzah, sorry. But the true matzah, and eat it in that 7 days of Passover, okay? If you do nothing else, at least do that much, okay? Right now, not now. No, don't eat matzah now, because it will have zero effect. It's a nice cracker. But during Passover, it becomes a cosmic food, because there's energy at certain times on the schedule. This is what the Bible is, a code. It gives us the schedule of these cosmic events. Like the menu on your cable TV. What's playing right now? And if you don't tune in at the right time, you miss the show. That's okay, but you miss it. You can't just do it whenever I feel like, because things need to be right. And that's what it's about. So Aries, as I said in the very beginning of the video, this is the month to take control. This is the month to control things. This is the month that we can control, no less, our life, our energy, how we see things and how we react to our life, which controls the future of our life for an entire year, potentially, depending on the effort we make, what we put into our connection. If it's for a month, 2, 11 months, until the next Passover, that depends on our level of connection and our desire. That's what it's about. So powerful is the month of Aries. Please share this with anyone who you feel will benefit or needs control in their life. Control, by the way, also means at every level, okay? The 3 major levels of life, which is number 1, health, number 2, sustenance, both spiritual and physical sustenance, which means money matters, and also spiritual abundance, and of course, relationships, which relate to all levels of relationships, intimate, close relationships, friendships, business relationships. So all those three, that covers all the areas of life. We take control this month. Be blessed, guys. Happy new moon of Aries. And I will see you very soon in the next video. All the best. All the best.